Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stikbot channel. In today's video, I'm showing you how to take the skin off of your Stikbot. Here's all the paint I used, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, I didn't want to ruin a perfectly good dark gray Stikbot on a custom that was going to get like completely covered, so I took my old scrap custom of Harley Quinn and I used that underneath all the paint. Now, there's one issue. The cord is orange and Goose's cord is green, so what I attempted to do was dye the cord a reddish color so it would blend in and match better. Like the cord got skinned as well. Here's the base coat of the fleshy red and the purple shirt. I outlined the muscular detail on the arm in pencil, and I'm attempting to paint it on camera. But listen, I paint on the floor, crisscross applesauce on my leg. I am so out of my depth painting in front of a camera, so it was just not working. And yes, I paint with a sanded down toothpick. Where that came from is when I started getting into customizing, a lot of the popular Lego YouTubers I watched, that's what they did. I think some of them still do. So at this point, I'm just kind of used to customizing like that. Though I've been watching a lot of action figure customizers lately, and a lot of them just use like fine paintbrushes, so I should probably get in the habit of doing that instead. I filled in the details off camera, and of course they wrap around the forearm, as you can see here. The goal is just to fill in that red dead space with what kind of looks like muscles. You can see I outlined what the legs are going to look like, and I finished the arms here. This isn't accurate to any sort of actual human anatomy. I did use the actual human muscular structure as inspiration for the details. Like, they vaguely resemble what our muscles actually look like. But come on, man, have you seen a Stikbot skeleton? It does not matter what the muscle details look like. I did want to, there's kind of like a different sort of type of muscle in our bodies, and I kind of wanted to represent that with this other shade of paint here. Just slowly going in, filling in the details. It is a struggle trying to match the details on the left side from the right side, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. Also got to go in and correct any mistake. And here's all the arms and legs, nice and painted up, nice and finished. Also added the red skin bits at the bottom of the thigh piece where the knee is. Got the shorts added and outlined the eyes and the muscle detail on the head. I initially wanted to add a nose because Stikbot skeletons do have like the indent of the nose, but later on I opted out of it. Didn't like how it looked. Again, I'm attempting to paint the black of the eyes on camera, but it's just not working. I don't know what I'm doing. I very swiftly gave up on that. Here's the eyes all painted. I thought because Stikbot eyes, at least the way I do them, are so huge that the actual eye socket would be massive. So I wanted to cover a huge portion of the face, kind of like the Jack Skellington custom I made. And here is the muscle detail of the head, all nice and painted up. It is technically uneven going from side to side, but the nice thing is we can all pretend like that's just not the case. Alright, all those clips before now were recorded before I went out of town. This is what it looked like. Just kind of sat around for 2 months until I came back. One thing I wanted to do over pretty much the entire Stikbot was, you know, when you look at our muscles, there are like those lines in it going throughout them. Again, I don't know the word for that, but I wanted to do those lines in pink over pretty much the entire Stikbot to match that fleshy sort of muscle-ness, you know. I ended up not liking it, but I wanted to try it out on this big empty space in the back of the head. Again, struggling to do the lines on camera. This is more so what I was going for, and I pretty much just fill up the entirety of the back of the head with these lines, and I do like how that looks, but I'm kind of attached to the blank red fleshiness of the empty space. So I didn't want to fill up the entire Stikbot with that. There's also more of that other type of muscle ligament fleshiness in the body that I wanted to do. There's like a bit on the face that I wanted to have represented on the face of here. I like the color of it before it dries way more than after it dries, because after it dries you can barely even see it. But you get what I was going for. I also added more of those muscle lines on the upper part of the forearm. I ended up not liking that and covering it with more of that other fleshy color. Also added in some of those darker red muscle lines that I needed to from earlier. You see a lot of the lines from this Stikbot aren't the cleanest. They're not as clean as I usually go with my customs, and this is totally a cope. I didn't want it to be that professional or clean with this. I wanted it to be a nice, quick, easy custom. if you couldn't tell. I like how in the background you can see whatever I'm working on as I work on this custom.
We can be.
I did more of the fleshy lines, did it in the cheek area, on the face, I did it on the calf area, and I did it in that big empty space on the bottom part of the forearm. And here, look, we have a reddish liquid. I'm sure y'all can figure out what this is, but in my head, when I was thinking about doing this, I literally thought of it in my head as like muscle skinless meat juice and not blood. It's obviously blood, but for whatever reason in my head, I didn't think of it as that, because that's kind of morbid, right? I initially tried to do it with a toothpick on camera. That was not working. So I ended up using a paintbrush and letting it sort of pull down the figure and kind of collect at the bottom. It wasn't really looking how I wanted to, so I'm just attempting to fix the torso the best I can and failing kind of miserably. Realistically, this is more so what it would look like if you peeled off your skin and put on a shirt. The shirt would be absolutely drenched, but I want it to look like it was like draining down the torso, you know? It was just not working out on the front of the torso, but on the shoulders here, you can see more so kinda what I was going for. Also had to do it on the shorts, but because the metallic paint on the shorts was so smooth, it was not working. Just filling out all the different parts of the torso with the red juice flowing down, trying to get it to look the best I can. The front piece of the torso, I just got to straight up redo that, but the rest of it was looking all right. As you can see, I did try to do the red on the shorts, but it wasn't how I wanted it to look. I repainted over the front of the torso so I could redo it. As you can see on the shorts, also I redid the torso. What I had to end up doing was letting the liquid pool. I had to put a bunch of it on the legs and let it pool and just let it air dry so I could get that reddish effect. Now, I do think at the end of this day, this custom was a failure, and I'll explain why. Here it is next to a regular dark gray Stikbot and Goose, of course. You can see it doesn't really look like Goose, nor does it look like a skinless Stikbot. A lot of the time when I make customs of original designs, I have an idea of the design in my head before I start, and I just kind of go along with whatever I'm thinking for the finalized design. Whereas here, I started off with an idea in my head instead of an actual design. And you can tell throughout this customizing process, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. At the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't look like Goose without his skin, and it doesn't look like a Stikbot without its skin. It just looks like an original design of a like red fleshy creature. What I should have done is just not included the shirt and the shorts and just made it be a full-on Stikbot muscular system anatomy type Stikbot, or I should have added more details that are characteristically Goose so it looks like Goose without the skin, but instead it kind of looks like neither, which is why I deem this as a failure. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, this is the first time I've ever recorded a custom tutorial and like finished it and stuff, so obviously there's a lot of work to be done for next time, but I did enjoy it. I would like to do this again. If you have any tips, leave it in the comments. And of course, let me know what you thought of this custom in the comments down below. If you're interested in joining my Discord server or following any of my socials, those links will of course be in the description. Make sure you use creator code GooseHamlin in the Fortnite item shop. Keep on honking, making Sam sandwiches, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.